The moment Trump's plane touched down in Beijing, 3 financial time bombs were already ticking, and every single one of them is pointed directly at your wallet. No American president has ever walked into a China summit carrying this much economic weight simultaneously. An active military blockade strangling 20% of the world's oil supply. Tariffs so high they're costing the average American household roughly $900 every single year. And a national debt now at $39 trillion, growing at $532 every second, making any economic stumble right now uniquely dangerous. If you've ever wondered why a summit in Beijing can move your retirement account, your energy bill, and the price of groceries at the same time, stay with this video, because we're going to map exactly what's at stake for your money before this weekend is over. Hit that subscribe button right now, because we break down the financial impact of global events like this every single day, before the consequences reach your bank account. Here's what most coverage is missing. Xi Jinping walked into this meeting from a position of genuine strength. China's economy grew 5% in 2025, better than almost anyone predicted. Chinese exporters didn't collapse under American tariffs. They pivoted. April export numbers came in at $359.4 billion, up 14.1% year-on-year, with China's trade surplus against the United States actually growing by 13% in the same month. Meanwhile, China's rare earth restrictions have already proven something that makes Washington deeply uncomfortable. American defense manufacturing and American technology production are structurally dependent on materials that Beijing controls. When China paused rare earth exports in April and October of 2025, Trump pulled back both times rather than escalate. That's not a trade negotiation. That's leverage. And Xi knows exactly how to use it. Now, here's the detail that changes everything about how you should read this summit. 3 of the most powerful names in American business flew to Beijing with Trump. Tim Cook of Apple, whose company generates approximately $70 billion annually from China and manufactures the majority of its products there. Elon Musk of Tesla, whose Shanghai Gigafactory produces hundreds of thousands of vehicles every year, a factory that exists only with Chinese government cooperation. And Jensen Huang of Nvidia, who joined the trip at the last minute on a stopover in Alaska. That last-minute addition is the single most important signal in this entire story. China wants access to advanced AI chips. Nvidia's H20 chips, specifically engineered to comply with U.S. export restrictions, were still blocked by additional restrictions in April 2026. The semiconductor question alone represents billions in potential revenue and trillions in market capitalization, sitting inside the retirement accounts of ordinary Americans. The outcome of what happens behind those closed doors in Beijing will move stock prices, and those stock prices live inside your 401k. Share this video right now with anyone you know who has investments, because what gets decided in that room this weekend won't wait for Monday morning. Keep watching, because the 3 specific financial outcomes you need to track are coming up, and the numbers are larger than any single headline will capture. Trump needs 3 things from this summit. He needs China to pressure Iran into reopening the Strait of Hormuz. He needs a tariff deal big enough to announce as a political win before bruising midterm elections. And he needs visible Chinese purchases, soybeans, Boeing aircraft, energy contracts, that he can point to as proof that his strategy is working. Xi's demands are equally specific and considerably harder for Washington to swallow. Beijing wants the United States to formally oppose Taiwan independence, stronger language than America currently uses. It wants a $14 billion U.S. arms package to Taiwan blocked or delayed. It wants semiconductor export controls reduced. And it wants Chinese companies removed from U.S. sanctions lists, particularly those connected to Iranian oil transactions. The asymmetry of who needs this deal more is not subtle. Gregory Poling of the Center for Strategic and International Studies said it directly. The diplomatic and strategic pressure created by the Hormuz blockade is falling far more heavily on Washington than on Beijing. China's own energy imports are disrupted, yes, but the United States is actively fighting the military operation, bearing the costs and absorbing the global diplomatic consequences. Xi is not. One analyst summarized what that symbolism means in plain terms. The fact that Trump flew to Beijing is itself a concession that no amount of deal framing can fully erase. Here are the three financial outcomes every American needs to track, and what each one means for your money specifically. The first is rare earths. China controls approximately 90% of global rare earth refining. These are not niche industrial inputs. Neodymium, dysprosium, terbium, these materials go into F-35 fighter jets, guided missile systems, semiconductor chips, electric vehicle motors, MRI machines, and virtually every advanced technology manufactured on Earth. Tom Marino of Columbia University's Center on Global Energy Policy confirmed that replenishing U.S. munitions stockpiles depleted by the Iran war requires heavy rare earths, precisely where China holds a near monopoly. The trade truce that halted Chinese rare earth restrictions expires this fall. Whether it gets renewed is the highest stakes financial question coming out of this summit. If rare earth flows continue, American defense production stabilizes, supply chains hold, and manufacturers can plan. If they get disrupted again, every American company producing defense systems, electric vehicles, semiconductors, and consumer electronics faces supply chain stress. And supply chain stress translates directly into lower earnings, higher prices, and falling stock prices inside your retirement account. The second outcome is the tariff deal. The framework reportedly under discussion involves a $30 billion per side reduction on specific goods categories, deliberately avoiding strategic technology and national security items. For American households, this is tangible and immediate. The current 145% tariff structure has added an estimated $1,500 per household per year in higher consumer prices. Any meaningful reduction flows through quickly to electronics, clothing, furniture, and appliances. Chinese soybean purchases are the most politically visible deliverable. American farmers vote, and agricultural exports were a direct casualty of the tariff war. Boeing aircraft orders are the second most visible. These are the headlines Trump's deal-making brand requires, even if they leave the structural tensions completely unresolved underneath. The third outcome, and the one that moves markets most violently, is Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. The ceasefire is described as being on life support. The blockade on 20% of global oil remains active. Energy prices are elevated. American households are paying more at the pump. American companies face higher transportation and production costs. And the Federal Reserve, already trapped between 3.3% inflation and $39 trillion in national debt, cannot cut interest rates aggressively because energy-driven inflation keeps the pressure locked in. Any meaningful movement on Iran requires Beijing to spend real diplomatic capital with Tehran, and Beijing will only do that in exchange for concrete concessions from Washington on the issues that matter to China. Taiwan language, arms sales, semiconductor controls. Taiwanese officials said it directly and publicly. What they fear most is being put on the table in a room they have no seat in. A senior Taiwanese official told Bloomberg that Taipei is watching whether it gets traded away at this summit. If Washington softens its formal position on Taiwan independence even marginally, in exchange for Chinese pressure on Iran, the implications for regional stability and global financial markets are significant and lasting. Here is the most honest bottom line available right now. The most realistic scenario analysts expect is limited stabilization, tariff truce extended, soybean and Boeing purchases renewed, rare earth flows maintained, Iran discussed without a public breakthrough, and Taiwan language left deliberately ambiguous. That outcome is modestly positive for markets. Not a euphoric deal, but a reduction of the worst possible scenarios. S&P 500 futures have already priced in partial optimism. If the summit meets or exceeds that expectation, equities hold or tick higher, energy prices drift modestly lower, and consumer confidence stabilizes. If the summit disappoints, if rare earth restrictions resume, if Taiwan becomes a public flashpoint, or if Iran talks collapse visibly, the market reaction will be fast and severe. The one-year trade truce expiring this fall without renewal puts every American household back under full tariff pressure by autumn. The China risk inside your 401k, your index funds, and your monthly energy bill is live and active right now, being negotiated behind closed doors in Beijing as you watch this. We will be tracking every development from this summit and publishing our financial analysis daily, Not weekly, not whenever it's convenient, but every single day as this story moves. Drop a comment below and tell me which city you're watching from, and tell me honestly, do you think Trump walks out of Beijing with a real deal or just a photo opportunity? That comment takes 10 seconds and it helps this analysis reach more people who need to see it. If this video gave you a clearer picture of what Beijing means for your money this weekend, the best thing you can do right now is share it with one person who has a retirement account. Because the decisions being made in that room don't wait for anyone to catch up. And if you haven't already, subscribing takes one tap. We do this every day, so you never have to figure out what global events mean for your finances alone.